IPMNation.com.
Living in a city when you're in it, watch the people walk by. And if you listen real close, you can hear them talk about their lives. And some hate it, some love it, some are thought, some are just tired. These are the people in the neighborhood, they just trying to make it out right. See, she never wanna be a New Yorker, but she definitely be the New
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Dr. John Rich, and you have tuned in to Dr. John's Neighborhood. Another fine day where I get the opportunity to talk with another smart person who's doing good things in the world. You know, in the middle of a world and a country where there's so much negativity and so much crisis, it's nice to be able to connect with people who have a positive attitude and are trying to do something positive for others. I'm at your service here. My website is drjohnrich.com. My email address is info@drjohnrich.com. I provide psychological counseling services which can be offered to you or anybody who might need of it on a sliding scale, and that can be done through Skype or Facebook Live or Zoom. So you don't even need to live near me here in the state of Delaware. You can get in touch with me about that. I'm always looking for people to be guests on the show, and I'm looking for some more advertisers if you're interested in putting some advertisements on the show. And then the final thing that I'll talk about is the creation of my brand new Facebook group, which is called Money Matters, where we have conversations about money saving and budgeting and investing and just things that can help you stretch your dollar. So reach out to me through my Facebook page. You'll see that, and come join the conversation. So today we have a guest. Her name is Miss Georgia Wheeler with Ecom Schooling. Say hi, Georgia.
Hi there.
So Georgia, I wanted to let you introduce the business that you own, which is a great service as far as I can tell, by talking about your tagline. You said you have a tagline, and when I heard it, I was like, that's a perfect summary of what you're doing.
Yeah. It is basically, my tagline is how to get school credit and make money while you learn. Basically I started Ecom Schooling about a year ago. And I kind of came off of my ebook that I wrote about a year and a half ago. And it's called The New Way to Homeschool, and then How to Get School Credit and Make Money While You Learn.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of the whole idea behind Ecom Schooling.
We are all listening, because the ability to do both of those things at the same time is that's pretty fantastic. So how do you do it?
Oh, well, basically, the idea behind the homeschooling is you can kind of like orchestrate things the way you need them to be for your child. I mean, you follow certain state laws and requirements, but as we all know, in high school, you'll have electives, that you can choose, and you've got some leeway there with those electives. Yeah. And so, now that technology is changing business so much, it's just a way for homeschoolers to look at those electives in a different way and start kind of looking at things online and, things like maybe writing an ebook, creating an online course, doing a podcast maybe like you're doing here, all the different things that we can create. A teenager can create, or even a middle schooler, or even younger, they can create these things and, use them as school credit for some of these electives, they can bring in. And then lo and behold, if that ebook takes off on Amazon or, their course, they start selling that course or, any number of things. They begin coaching people online. They can make money while they learn as well.
So do you know how to make money doing those things?
Yes, I'm on my way.
All right.
I'm in the whole process as we speak.
Okay.
So yes, I've got an ebook up on Amazon. I've created a course right now for homeschool moms. It's called Homeschool Moms Wake Up Productive. And yeah, so that's a whole thing too. And the Wake Up Productive I'll have to talk about because it really goes hand in hand with e-com schooling. And, the idea is as more of us are working from home and using technology and teaching online, we'll be working from home and anywhere, really. And a lot of us are so used to punching a time clock and doing things, from morning till evening or whatever, somebody telling us what to do. And Wake Up Productive shows you how to organize your day from home, and also run a business or, and all the things that we have to do from home. So kind of helping moms figure out how to do that, and they can teach their kids how to do that as well.
So with the idea that when you're at home, it's very easy to get distracted?
Yes. I'll have to kind of go into Wake Up Productive a little bit. I basically got Wake Up Productive from a man named Eben Pagan. I don't know if you've heard of him before.
No.
Eben is kind of he's a guru marketer online. And he's sold over like 100 million in just digital products. And he teaches other business owners how to market and make digital products online. And I actually spoke with him about a year ago on the phone when he noticed the title of my book and how it was helping kids to learn things about the future economy.
Yeah.
He's very into that, creating products for the future and technology and all. And so I got to speak with him on the phone, and he actually gifted me one of his programs. It's called the Digital Product Blueprint, and there's lots of different programs in that program, and one of those was Wake Up Productive. And I started checking it out, and it really essentially changed my life. At the time, I was really struggling with an illness that was just very debilitating. The doctors couldn't quite figure out what was wrong with me, but it'd been going on for almost a decade. And this program kind of showed me how to kind of take care of myself and be productive at the same time. So I was able to be kind of sick and productive and get things done at the same time, which is kind of remarkable, But yeah, that's where I started noticing that it would be great for homeschoolers, just the whole program and how it helped you to organize your day and kind of customize a lifestyle for yourself to get things done. And I just started seeing how it would fit so well into the lifestyle of a homeschooler.
So why did you pick that particular direction? It seems like you could just as easily have started something where you would just teach regular people how to make money using online products and things like that.
Well, I started seeing, with my audience, with homeschoolers, this is something they're just starting to notice, all the different unique things we can do online. And I think they're going to catch up to it, pretty soon. I think they're kind of starting to step into it. But I started to see a greater need and saw that this really was foundational for what I'm trying to introduce them to. I'm wanting to introduce them to that lifestyle of building a business online or, helping their kids take their creativity and move it online and do all this. But really a foundation for that is how to organize all that for themselves, how to organize their day, how to live a lifestyle of, building a business from anywhere. And as I start speaking with my community and helping them, I started noticing that this was a really big need for them, that the Wake Up Productive seemed to just kind of fit right in with a great need that they were having, just struggling with all that they have on their plate and trying to get things done and feeling overwhelmed. So I just saw how it started to fit that need. And I really see it as foundational for e-com schooling because if they can learn how to, accomplish goals and get things done and have that really great organized lifestyle or productive lifestyle, then they'll be even more ready to bring on, a business and bring on things. It'll kind of fit right in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's kind of foundational.
So what's your connection to the homeschool community? It seems like you know a lot of people who are homeschooling their kids. So where does that come from?
Well, it's kind of funny. When I was a teenager in high school, I wasn't homeschooled myself. I live here in Indiana, and I went to a regular public high school here. And but I met a family. It was through my church actually, but I met a family that just started getting to know them, and they had 5 or 6 kids, and they were homeschooling, and I just thought it was interesting. I started to hang out with this family and kind of observe, what they would do. I'd never seen it before,
Yeah.
And I just remember one time their 8-year-old. It was so funny. Their 8-year-old asked me, hey Georgia, have you read the book Eisenhower? And
wow.
I was probably a junior in high school, and I remember thinking, Eisenhower, is that a president?
Oh, boy.
And I was kind of blown away by that because here I am. I mean, my dad had pushed me into all kinds of AP, college prep classes and everything, and I'm questioning this. And so I was really amazed, too, by their kids, just how they really, loved learning, and I kind of started thinking about my own experience in school. You get up early, you go to school, you come home, you throw your books down,
yeah.
and you kind of feel like, I hate school, And even though I was a decent student and everything, I just saw this kind of difference there. And that's what sparked my curiosity about the whole kind of homeschooling thing. And
mm-hmm.
so, shortly after that, I get married and I start having kids of my own. And I just start to think about that whole thing and how am I going to educate my own kids? And so that's kind of what got my mind started towards that. And yeah, so
you I'm sure that you've heard the critique that people have about homeschooling your kids, which is that they don't get the social competence experiences that people do in public school. So you can probably address that. What would your response to that be?
I can understand that. Now looking back because I basically homeschooled for almost 25 years now, and had both experience of going to school myself, and one thing I can say is I'm not really dogmatic as far as I think everybody should homeschool. I really think that you have to really pay attention to each child's individual needs and really assess that even from year to year.
Yeah.
And, try to make the best decision for each child, for what you think is going to really be just best for them overall, for them as an overall person. But, when I think about the social end, it's almost like, if you think about it, there are some kids in a public school setting that really struggle socially.
Yeah.
And even though they're in the midst of all these kids around them, they can really have a tough time. And we know this,
yes.
This is not, it's no mystery. And then, and then you can I've heard stories and I've even, I've seen examples of kids homeschooled that they are, maybe situations change, seasons of life change, and they become more isolated, and that's kind of what happened to my kids when they were, I have 3 girls and a boy, and when they were all younger, elementary age, and even middle school age, we had tons of kids in our neighborhood, and most of them were public school educated, but they would always be coming down to our house to hang out. Our house was the hangout house.
Right.
My kids were always creating some, whatever. They were building and creating all kinds of things. And so the kids would love that. And so they had tons of I guess you could say social interaction. But when they hit their teens, and 2 of mine graduated and, my other 2 were in their teens, a lot of those kids moved away and the whole dynamic changed. And so I had to begin to assess, what to do there for my two teens at the time.
Yeah.
And, we had to change things up. And at the time, we happened to be going to a church that had they had a pretty well built up school. It was kind of a private school, but it was built up pretty well. And that's kind of the decision we made at the time, because we had a lot of friends there and stuff. And so they went into that private school. And it's just, and like I said, you have to kind of assess, I believe, for each child year by year, what's going to work best for them. But I think, if that makes sense, the whole social thing to me is, what's happening in their environment, at that time, and trying to do the best you can to, help your kids socially, because they can be in a public school and be in a mess socially. You know what I mean? It just kind of depends on what's happening, you know?
So you kind of, when you were talking about these homeschool kids who seemed like they were kind of on fire for learning, they were like exploring things and seemed to have like an intrinsic motivation to learn. Then you talked about your own kids, your last two kids, and they went to this private school. So I'm just curious, did you see a drop-off in their enjoyment of learning when they went to a structured school setting?
Well, my daughter seemed to thrive in that more kind of real organized textbook, workbook type of thing. And there are kids that are just like that, and so she was okay. It worked out for her. It was her junior and senior year. And she's a major social bug and easily can make friends. So that all just kind of worked for her,
Mm-hmm.
My son at the time, I'm trying to remember, I think he was 7th, 8th grade. I'm trying to remember now, but he struggled a lot more. Now he has a few like learning challenges, none that you can really tell too much, but I think that those kind of caused him issue in that kind of classroom setting, kind of like the ADHD thing. So there was kind of a drop off for him. He used to be more of an avid reader before he went into that setting, but he found himself with his ADHD kind of stuff really having to work harder to just kind of pay attention and deal with that setting. And it was also new to him as well. So it was tougher for him.
Yeah.
And I ended up, like I said, assessing what he needed at the time. And I pulled him back out for his 9th grade year. I believe part of 8th and 9th grade year. And I felt like he kind of got back on track again, as far as just, because it was just it was a tough learning situation for him. And it was more some of the, learning challenges that he already had. But it was also kind of a good experience for him too, to kind of be in there and see what that was like,
Mm-hmm.
but, and socially we had, a lot of connections, at the church we were at. So we kind of worked with that a lot. And he also loves martial arts. So we put him in judo and stuff, and he was really loving that.
Yeah.
So we just tried, to do different things like that. But yeah, so if that makes sense, it's, but there was a drop off for him. But like I said, I really just believe kids are different, whether the way that they learn, maybe learning challenges that they have, socially they can be different, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think we just got to do the best we can to help them with all of that, whatever situation they're in.
Yeah. Well said. So let's go back to your, this program that you have. Is that the right way to describe it on your site? You have a program that people can sign up for?
Yeah. Initially, I'm starting with, it's called a Homeschool Moms Wake Up Productive Co-op. And basically, it's like a coaching program. What I do is the first 5 weeks, we have a weekly call on Zoom, and it's a live call, and we're face-to-face. And I train them in the whole Wake Up Productive program.
Okay.
And I just show them how to, begin to, build their own customized lifestyle that helps them to be more productive. And I ran this back in May for some homeschool moms. And I discovered some pretty interesting things. one of the biggest things or biggest impacts for them was learning how to take care of themselves more. And because the program kind of shows you how to take strategic breaks all throughout the day. Okay. And they're short little breaks, but it's a counterintuitive thing that when you're able to take these breaks and you kind of follow your body's natural cycle of kind of getting tired in the afternoon and the way it can, we all get tired and we almost feel like we want to take a nap.
Yeah.
But they, as you start to listen to your body more and take these breaks, you feel better and you're actually able to just get more done throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
And that really surprised them. And I started noticing that a lot of the homeschool moms out there, they are working so hard and they've got kind of such a sacrificial mindset and
right.
kind of they get in a survival mode that they just push themselves so hard and they can just really burn out quickly.
Yeah.
But they just keep right on going, and so these moms were just so fascinated by that. It was funny, the first call that we had, I remember seeing their little faces come up on the screen, and they really did look kind of tired and almost like, oh man, I made it here. They were just like almost haggard looking, and then I remember the last call on the 5th week, when they're, I wish I could have took a screenshot. When their faces came up on that screen, they were just kind of calm and serene and had smiles on their faces. And I was like, this is really amazing. I was so happy to see that the transformation come that way, so,
yeah.
But yeah, that was probably one of the biggest things for them is that counterintuitive and learning how to strategically, and take those breaks. And it was funny, I coined the phrase, teaching them how to take mini vacation moments.
Okay, all right.
And just all throughout the day. And it begins with a morning success ritual, it's like the mini vacation hour that kind of starts the day, but they were it was so wonderful to see how much they were getting more done. One gal, she was from Ireland, and she said that she had a course or a program, and it taught you all about herbs and how to grow them and use them. She said she'd been trying to get this course together for the past 2 years, and she was able to start pulling it together while homeschooling and all of that because of what she learned in these 5 weeks.
Huh.
So I just thought that was wonderful. And that kind of showed, it kind of proved where I the foundation for e-com schooling is, she felt like she couldn't fit that in with everything.
Yeah.
But now the foundation of this Wake Up Productive was allowing her to do that. So I just thought that was great.
So without giving away the farm, like, where does one find the time? Is the idea that when you really look at it, there's these expanses of time when you're not really doing anything, and so you can kind of crunch it together? Or is it a matter of being more intentional about what you're going to accomplish and then focusing? Like, where in the midst of this woman's frenetic life was she able to find the time to add yet another thing?
Well, I think, the way the program, what I love about it is it has sort of this flexibility and customization to it, where there are concepts that you begin to put into your life, whether it's the morning success ritual or your morning routine, those strategic breaks. And then we also have something like, it's the balance formula I call, where that's where you actually put in some of the tasks that you have to get done for the day.
Yeah.
But those concepts coming together to form your day, it just, like I said, it kind of all comes together. And I think for her, what enabled her to bring that in was just simply feeling better and not feeling so stressed.
Okay.
And feeling like she had that energy and the clarity of mind now, and it was probably because of those breaks and that morning ritual that allowed her to say, yes, I can bring this in, and which is really counterintuitive, but it worked wonderfully that way. Yeah. So, yeah.
This might seem a little bit of a tangent, but it's connected. I've often talked to my students about how people who smoke cigarettes entitle themselves to breaks throughout the day. They get up from their desk.
Yeah.
They get up from their desk and they go outside for 5, 6, 7 minutes and smoke a cigarette. And they're out there with other smokers and they're having a little social time. And they get a break from whatever they're in the middle of. And so when I talk to them about how you can use psychology to help yourself quit smoking or quit, any kind of addictive behavior, one of the things that you want to do is to recognize that the act of smoking provides more than just the chemicals that you're inhaling. It also provides opportunities that society has decided are acceptable to take breaks away from whatever's going on. So,
gosh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you're going to quit smoking, you should be still taking those breaks. Go for a walk or stand up and stretch or whatever.
Yes, I help them kind of find exactly kind of customized to them what they really, like to do. Whether it's listening to, like calming, relaxing music, taking a 15, 20-minute cat nap, which can be very rejuvenating, just all sorts of things, that people have come up with that it just really customized to them,
So let's pretend that I'm one of these women coming to you and I'm in your group and you tell me, okay, the way that you're going to open up more time is you're going to take more breaks. And then I laugh directly in your face and I say, how am I going to get more time if you're asking me to add something that takes time? So what would you tell me in response to that criticism?
Oh, I would probably say, I know that it's counterintuitive,
Mm-hmm.
but I would normally say you got to trust me.
Right.
It really does work. I had a gal that she said the very same thing to me before she started the 5-week program. And she goes, I'm really skeptical. I just don't see how this was going to work, but I just told her, it's just one of those things. It's very counterintuitive, but it really is logical at the same time. When you have, we have those little rejuvenation periods, even if it's just 5 minutes, you come back to where you feel just ready to go.
Yeah.
You feel like it helps in your mindset and everything. You feel like, yes, I can tackle this next thing instead of getting halfway through the day and you're just exhausted. When is this going to end? Is usually how you're feeling, and
right.
You're just barely getting through your tasks or the last, things that you need to do for the day. So it's something that, I tell them, give it a try, prove me wrong, trust me. And I understand it's counterintuitive, but it really does follow a sense of logic that, those little tiny breaks throughout the day actually helps you get that extra 2 or 3 things done at the end of the day that you never could get to before.
Huh.
So, yeah.
It seems like it would be more difficult for somebody who was a single parent. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I even think about the homeschool mom with 5 or 6 kids and the mommy down at their feet and all, I'm a grandmother now, and I have a 3-year-old granddaughter and a 1-year-old grandson. But that 3-year-old granddaughter, I have that feeling again that all these moms with little kids have, because she wants all of my attention when I'm with her. The whole time she's with me, she wants all of my attention. So I know, I remember what that's like, But yeah, you can. It's amazing how you can begin to strategize and get creative and find that 5 minutes and find, those times, because that 3-year-old will take a nap and, even if you can go to the bathroom for 5 minutes, but we creatively find these periods of time. My daughter is 20 and she's working at a daycare right now with 15 little babies. And I helped her find her break times. Especially her lunch hour. She has an hour lunch hour, and it's a very stressful job. but I've helped her find those little times, like she will go to the bathroom for 5 minutes in the mid-morning. Just breathe a little bit and just take it. But she says it's been amazing, just those 2 little breaks for her during the day. She'll take a 15 or 20-minute cat nap during that lunch hour in her car, and the door's locked and all that. But she, and she's just amazed at how much, she can be better at her job, and be ready.
That's great. This is very consistent with, some stress management techniques that psychologists have talked about. And it seems like the hardest sales pitch that you would have is trying to convince people that here's something else that you have to add to your list that's actually going to make the time seem more expansive.
Well, what's funny is how I coach these moms is you have to find the things that you truly love and that will build you up and make you feel strong for the day, and so at first it was hard for them. When we were talking about the morning routine, they're like, okay, I'll get up early and I'll do this and I'm like, no. You have to find what you truly love. And one of my moms said that she noticed when she got out of bed, if she got out of bed to go to a nice spot, that she was fair game, and everybody would, kids would start asking her questions and everything. So what she found that she had to do was go get out of bed, grab her coffee, and then run back to bed. And she'll do that for her morning routine. She'll go get her coffee, get right back in bed, because nobody will bother her there. They know this, not to bother mom in bed. Yeah. And she takes her time. She has an adult coloring book. Have you heard of these adult coloring books?
I have heard.
They're very serene. She loves those, and she will just kind of, color in that. It's also like a be thankful journal or gratitude journal. And she just does this for about 30 minutes. And she said she was so amazed to have just that time. And she said it was so good for her that she is not a morning person, but she had a really busy week and she was going to have to get up earlier. And so she made herself get up 20 minutes earlier and take out so she could have that time, because she noticed it was just, making such a great impact on her. Nice. So, so it's just, it's counterintuitive, but I help them find what they truly love, what really builds them up, what makes them feel mentally strong. I help them kind of find those things. And they naturally, even for their little breaks throughout the day, they naturally want to go towards that. They just see how much it's helping them.
Yeah. Well, I think about tennis. So for me, being able to motivate myself to go to the gym and run on the treadmill or do weights or whatever, it's very difficult. I can't find it in me. But playing tennis, I'm just playing a game. I'm exercising, but I'm not even thinking about the fact that I'm exercising. And I'm willing to put in extra time to learn how to play better. And, I think about shots that I had made or watch other people play and try to take pointers and stuff like that. So it's interesting how connected that is to what you were saying about these kids way back in the day that inspired you to look into homeschooling. The difference between learning something or doing something for an external reward, like a paycheck or a grade on a report card, and doing something for an intrinsic reward where you're actually just internally driven to get better at it because of the enjoyment that you receive.
Yes. I mean, I'm also, I talk about this Wake Up Productive a lot because, I think it would work fantastically for teens as well. My son, who's 17, he's watched me over the past year do this, and he's got kind of his own morning routine, and it's just as simple as he gets up and he puts on his Beats, those earphones on his ears, and he has his favorite music he listens to, and he'll kind of pace on about his room, but that's what he likes to do, and that kind of wakes him up and gets him motivated. And then he goes downstairs. I don't know if he does probably 20 or 30 minutes doing that. Then he comes downstairs and he makes his favorite bulletproof coffee. And this is his morning routine. This is what he does, but that's what really makes him feel ready for the day, and so too, I'm kind of helping him with some of these other techniques I have in the program to help him get, through schoolwork and all of that. But, even beyond that program, I'm beginning to help some of my older kids. They're 24 now and 23. I'm helping them start, to do things online and teach them about some of these things. And it fits right in with the e-com schooling idea. The only thing that's different is they're out of school now. But if they were, high school age or whatever, I would definitely take what I'm teaching them right now and use it as school credit. I could use it as business marketing, social media marketing. There's, probably endless things we could come up with on the elective side, that they could be using what they're learning right now.
Yeah. Great. By the way, what's bulletproof coffee? What's that?
Oh, I'm trying to think now because I don't make it myself, but I think it's, I think he puts some kind of, is it called MCL oil? I think I've heard of something like that. And there's a butter. You put butter in the coffee, okay? It's this grass-fed butter that he uses. And I don't think he might put stevia in there. But I think it's this oil in this butter, this grass-fed butter in the stevia into this black coffee.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. And so, he likes to do that. But, so it's a really neat thing that when you find those things that you truly like, that personally build you up, that you love, and you begin to use them as like a morning routine or a morning success ritual, I call it, and then you also use them throughout the day, you naturally find yourself drawn towards those breaks, and then they work wonderfully to make you feel so much better. I think it's also been fantastic in the way that it's made me enjoy life more, and just, how people say, like, seize the moment and just be thankful for each moment of the day because we only have so many,
Yes.
It really does bring that to life. I just find myself really soaking up those moments that I'm, those mini vacation moments.
So
I soak them up,
Where did that breakthrough come for you? I don't imagine that you've always been giving yourself mini breaks through the day. So where did it occur to you that was something that was going to be helpful?
Oh my, you're right. It's only been in the past year that I've done this, and so I can really relate to the mom that is just in a survival mode and just pushing themselves really hard, And
so when did the light bulb come on for you then?
Well, when Evan, Pagan had, gifted me that program, and when I started to watch it, because I'm like, wake up productive. That sounds like something I would need,
Mm-hmm.
And but really, what drove it home for me was my illness. I was forced into taking those breaks, if you will, and my body was making me, I would have to take actually lots of breaks throughout the day. And I would actually do a breathing technique that, because Evan had also talked about, a doctor talking about, one of the best things you can do if you are ill is to, do deep breathing and allow that oxygen to really get in and start working on your systems,
Yeah.
And it's very healing. And so I would do that a lot throughout the day. And I think it was part of me getting better, I also had another breakthrough as well just recently, about 7 months ago. It's become pretty popular. Most people are hearing about it, and it's the CBD. I don't know if you've heard of it now, CBD oil. But it's probably 80% of what's really healed me. But this other part of taking these breaks, because I was like forced into it, right? Like my body would, I didn't have much energy, and so I was kind of forced into it, if you will. But I started to see great results from it. I was actually able to accomplish tasks and get a lot done, even though I was pretty sick, So that was like the big eye opener for me. And, and I just started seeing how, wow, there are so many moms out there just like me that are working so hard and pushing themselves so hard, and they could get so much more done and feel so much more satisfied if they knew kind of these techniques, how to do this, So yeah, and it would work great for sick moms too. There's a lot of people out there struggling with, strange sicknesses, if you will, where I think it has to do with their gut or food or, things that, thyroid and all kinds of sorts of things. And it's really affecting their life, and it's hard for them to get through day-to-day tasks, so it could be good for that too.
Yeah, it's interesting that you went through this illness that you've talked about, and here on the other side of it, you ended up with a life lesson that's made your life more enriched. That's very interesting to me.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're going to need to wrap up the show. So I have two more things that I want to ask you to tell us. One is about the advice, but before we do that, can you just tell our listeners where do they find you and find more about you and the services that you're providing?
Well, the best place to go is my Facebook group, because that's where I spend a lot of time, because of technology changing so quickly. That's where I can go and update people the fastest, if you will. So I can, if you go to, into Facebook and you put in ecom schooling, and that's just ECOM schooling, then it should come right up. You'll see it. It'll say the new way students can make money while they learn.
Uh-huh.
And that's the best place to go. Also, you can go to ecomschooling.com, and that's where you can get a free copy of my book, the new way to homeschool, how students can get school credit and make money while they learn.
Yeah.
So, and that will lead that, if you go get my book, I will tell you, I'll have several links in there to my group as well, and you can find me there. And I'm updating it all the time as far as I do a lot of videos in there taking you into my email and showing you different opportunities, things that your kids can learn, just so they can get started taking their ideas and their creativity. And that was one of the big reasons why I started this, because the entrepreneurial culture, that we're in now, the homeschool culture is so entrepreneurial. And they love to start businesses. They are always getting these creative ideas, and they want to start businesses all the time. And so now there's so much going online that way that I'm there to try to help them take those ideas and that creativity and show them how to translate that and, start their own Facebook groups, and how to, start their own little coaching business, how to kind of just even get started.
Yeah.
Because I know there's so much going on online that it can be overwhelming. Most parents, they feel like I have enough to do just trying to homeschool them for the basics,
Right.
So I want to be that place where they can begin to look at things and help them get started if they have, these great ideas and such.
I would think, though, that if you're a parent that's also entrepreneurial, that it would be interesting to kind of kill two birds with one stone. You're doing the homeschooling with the child, but along the way you're learning about something that can make your own ideas successful.
Absolutely, because we don't homeschool forever. Our kids grow up and they graduate and they're finished, and then we moms are like, what's next?
Yeah.
So it's perfect for us to learn as well,
Great. Okay, so here's the magic question that we'll end the show on. I told you I was going to ask this. Thinking back on your life, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Wow. I think of that, and it's hard to put my finger on the best. I keep thinking of so many different pieces of advice. I have like a list. You know what I mean?
Let me interject and say that
okay.
that a good Freudian would say that whichever one came to mind first is the one that is the best for your current moment. So what's the one that's popping into your head right now?
Yes, that makes sense. The one that pops into my head is one that I heard actually from Evan Pagan, and he said that in business and in life, one of the best things that you can do is over communicate.
Okay.
And he said, and over communicate again. And don't just assume, but just, really communicate with people and over communicate and over communicate. And this really has impacted me, especially in this past year. And maybe it could have been a weakness in my life that just really stood out to me, that a lot of times maybe we're shy or we're nervous, or maybe we're not sure if somebody's going to be offended by something we're going to say or whatever. But I think it's really important for us to communicate and then over communicate and communicate some more. I've been finding myself in the past year saying, okay, just to be clear, I'll say this phrase aloud, just to be clear, and I repeat, what we've talked about, or it's something that I think is so valuable and can eliminate a lot of, stress or drama or, a negativity or, bad things that can happen, so,
right.
And enrich relationships, so.
Yeah, in psychology, we psychologists are amazed that any two people can get along at all, because our understanding of what another person is saying and doing is so filtered by our own prior experiences, and those experiences are so unique that, who's to say how anybody is interpreting or misinterpreting anything that comes out of our mouth. So the more you communicate, the more likely you're going to be saying exactly what you're trying to say, and warding off any misunderstandings. So I like that. I've never heard anybody say, the best piece of advice in one word, but that's really nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah. That's the one that stood out to me. I'm sure there's been maybe even deeper ones throughout my life, but that one right now has been something really, that's standing out to me right now. Yeah,
great. Well, listen, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate the words that you have. You certainly have an interesting service. And even though you are focusing it on homeschooled people, it seems like it has a much broader reach. So when you get your footing, it'll be interesting to see how far it can go.
Yes, I'm excited. I mean, even if, you have moms listening that maybe they've been, struggling as well with just, their days or, working so hard and burning themselves out. I think there's a lot of moms out there that they might be even curious about homeschooling, or they've thought about it, or they just want to see what it's like. And maybe they aren't going to do it for themselves, but they're just even curious about it. It would be, they're more than welcome to check this out. And I would love it, because I had thought of just putting moms, Wake Up Productive, because we're all moms here,
Mm-hmm.
If we have kids. But, I know that it is valuable to be more specific, with a group of people. And since I've homeschooled 25 years, I thought, that would be the group I can help a lot. And, I totally welcome moms, even if you're curious or you have even thought about homeschooling, this would be the place to check it out, because I look at it as a training ground. I'm even targeting even more new homeschool moms. They're new to homeschooling. They're just starting, because that's kind of the most terrifying time, and you're trying to figure out how to homeschool. And, so if you've even thought about it, it's a great place. It's a training ground to get them started and make them feel more confident and sure as they start homeschooling, because they have, kind of an organized day and kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks again for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah. And thank you, listener, for tuning in once again. We'll be back next Friday. Reach out to me if you're interested in talking to me about anything. I'm always open and available to things that people have to say. info@drjohnrich.com. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you next week.
Living in a city, when you're in it, watch the people walk by. And if you listen real close, you can hear them talk about their lives. And some hate it, some love it, some are felt, some are just tired. These are the people in the neighborhood, they just trying to make it out right. See, she never wanna be a new
IPMNation.com.